I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. And all the roads we have to walk are winding, and all the lights that lead us there are blinding. And there are many things that I would like to say to you, but I don't know how. But maybe you're gonna be the one that saves me. And after
All right, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Morning Coffee with your host, Rick Alexander. Let's see, housekeeping news. Again, working on the Clarity Academy Immersion Experience. I don't know if I'm going to call it that. I haven't really released the details yet, but looking at a 4-day intensive to help people figure out who they really are and what they really want out of this life. There'll be lots of self-exploration and lots of growth in these 4 days. I can promise you that. Again, I will be releasing details in the next couple weeks. But if you're interested, hit me up and I can certainly put you on the list to make sure that you get the info as soon as I launch it. You know, we live in a world today where it's almost become trendy to have haters and to almost like want to have haters and to acknowledge the hate. And I get it, because essentially what you're looking for is a sign that you've grown. And if people don't like what you're doing, chances are you're doing something that's worth a damn. The underlying narrative of that, I totally understand. But what I wanted to do today is talk to you a little bit about why we have to be dismissive of those that point out our faults and tend to lead with hate or tend to just be a negative force of energy in your life. You know, that old axiom that's like, what people say about you says so much more about them. That's actually true. But I want to tell you why that's true and why that really matters in this particular context. See, because they're projecting their weakness onto you in an attempt to disavow that weakness from themselves. And you see this a lot of times with like emotionally manipulative behavior. Like those that wish to control others have a deep, unacknowledged weakness that they're trying to make up for. And so you can think about this in terms of just as a human, you want a sense of control in your life. Now, if you have a deep weakness, like deep in your heart about who you are, then you're going to look for that control in other people. I'm hoping that you're not that person, but I think we all are to a certain degree. But also, this is to say that if you have that person in your life, might be time to start sort of cutting the chains. Those people want something to control. They want a narrative to control. And since they're too weak to control their own, they're going to resort to trying to control yours. Now, that's what's happening. Now, the reason it's important to acknowledge that and to not allow that kind of bullshit to happen in your life, for lack of a better term, is because you know how impressionable your own narratives are. Yesterday, we talked about patterns. Well, once you talk about patterns in thought, that is a narrative. And you're going to live out the narratives that you believe. And so if you love yourself, you know, one of the things I talked about was this idea of self-love on an earlier episode and how you have a standard for yourself, right? Well, the flip side is that when we don't love ourselves and we aren't secure in who we are, we allow toxic narratives from other people to enter our awareness. And we also allow it from ourselves. A huge step in your own personal growth and your own self-love is when you stop allowing negative narratives to enter your awareness. So if you think about your awareness, your consciousness, that is the essence of your being, right? You just have awareness in this world right now. Well, how awareness works is it selects based on values. Whatever it selects, it brings into its world, and whatever it doesn't select, it inherently rejects. Okay? And so if you are selecting negative thought patterns and negative narratives that are going to come into your life, whether they come from your own mind and your own psychology or they come from somebody else, they're going to denigrate your quality of life. Your awareness ensures that you select certain things. It's like your aperture can only select certain things. And so if you decide to select negative things, you're automatically rejecting the positive things. And that's the actual problem with that. That's the actual problem with allowing haters or like listening to what haters would actually have to say. I think loving yourself really means just having the decency in a lot of ways to not allow negative thoughts to run your life, whether those are your thoughts or someone else's. And so if you think about your life, if you think about emotionally manipulative struggles for power, all of the different sort of relationships, interpersonal relationships that you have in your life, think about the ones that are injecting toxic narratives into your life, and then try to understand that it is the quality of your life we're talking about. Like, you can put up with negative people for a certain amount of time, but at the end of the day, if you're selecting what's negative, you're rejecting what's positive, and it is ruining your life. And look, your own psychology could also send these negative thought patterns and negative narratives into your head, especially if you're hanging around it, especially if you're hanging out with people who are doing it. And again, whether it's coming from you or coming from somebody else, the point is, if you actually love yourself, you will have the respect for yourself to not allow those thoughts to enter your mind. And look, our entire psyche works on momentum, and because of that, you really can't feed enough positive things into it, right? So I used to think about the motivational space, and I used to get frustrated because it's like, well, why doesn't it work? Like, why do we always have to add more? But that's actually just the nature of it. You just are going to feed off whatever you feed yourself. And you know what it comes down to? It comes down to that parable about the fight of two wolves that are within you. So it goes something like this. Old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. And so he says, there's a fight, and it's going on inside of me. And he said, it's a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil. He's anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other one is good. He's joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going in inside of you and every other person too. And the grandson thought about it for a minute, and then he asked his grandfather, well, so which wolf is going to win? And then the Cherokee elder looked down at his grandson and he said, the one that you feed. And so the reason that you don't allow haters, the reason that you don't allow negative thought processes, the reason that you can't be a source of energy for every single person that wants to suck it out of you, is because you are feeding the wrong wolf every single time you succumb to that. And you have to love yourself more by holding a higher standard of what you actually allow to be injected into your thought processes. You know how flimsy the psyche can be. You know how emotional humans are and how whimsical we are and how we can easily be like just really motivated to go in one direction or to believe something else or to do something else. And so, yeah, you have to continue to feed the wolf that you want to win. And often that means starving all of the hate that surrounds you that is always trying to penetrate your being. It will denigrate your quality of life. So just know that the more people who are negative that you allow to be around you and to be in your presence, you do so at the denigration of your own quality of life and thoughts. Feed the good wolf, be Stevie Wonder to the bullshit, and then watch the way that your life is expressed on this earth be magnified far past what you could imagine now. It's all just a matter of what you allow into your consciousness. It's all a matter of what you allow to be selected. I love you guys. We'll talk on Hump Day on Morning Coffee.
I am marching through branches in a fit of wanderlust. I see you in a black hole reaching out for something just. Silhouettes of neighbors dancing in disgust. I'm sure you recognize my noise and you heard about the pit. Been told to be afraid of everything that lives within, but it's much worse where you are, so will you go for it? I have a feeling you might, feeling you might. Somebody somewhere will clean out your rules with dirty fingers. We'll bury the light. Somebody somewhere everything that comes with it. We can talk about it later, but I think you've given in. We can talk about it later, but I think you've given in. I had a feeling you might